Judiciary Committee will come to order, and without objection, the Chair is authorized to declare recesses of the committee at any time. We welcome everyone to this morning's hearing on examining the adequacy and enforcement of our nation's immigration laws, and I will begin by recognizing myself for an opening statement. When President Obama announced unilateral changes to our immigration laws with a wave of his pen and cell phone on November 20, 2014, he indicated that he would allow millions of unlawful and criminal aliens to evade immigration enforcement. He did this with the issuance of new so-called priorities for the apprehension, detention, and removal of aliens. Under the Obama administration's new enforcement priorities, broad categories of unlawful and criminal aliens will be immune from the law. This means that these removable aliens will be able to remain in the United States without the consequence of deportation. To make matters worse, even the most dangerous criminals and national security threats can cease being a priority for removal if there are undefined, compelling, and exceptional factors. On the same date, President Obama effectively announced the end of secure communities. Despite the fact that the President claims he took action to prioritize immigration enforcement against criminal aliens, he is scrapping a tool that identifies criminal aliens booked in jails across the United States so that federal law enforcement officials can prioritize their removal. Secure Communities, created in 2008, is a simple and highly successful program to identify criminal aliens once arrested and jailed. It protects Americans from those who are a danger to their communities. As the Department of Homeland Security has said on numerous occasions, Secure Communities simply uses an already existing federal information sharing partnership between ICE and the Federal Bureau of Investigation that helps to identify criminal aliens so that ICE can take enforcement action. As of August 2014, the administration indicated that over 375,000 aliens and 121,000 Level 1 convicted criminal aliens who the Obama administration deems the worst of the worst were removed as a result of Secure Communities. Based on the Obama administration's new policies announced on November 20, 2014, we have learned that the average daily population of aliens in detention facilities has declined to approximately 27,000 beds. This has occurred despite the statutory mandate in current law that ICE maintain a 34,000 ADP in detention facilities. Many factors have contributed to this decline, including the collapse of issuance and compliance with ICE detainers because of ICE's own detainer policy issued on December 21, 2014, ICE's failure to defend its detainer authority, ICE's immediate implementation of its new enforcement priorities on November 20, 2014, and the demise of the Secure Communities program on this same date. Detainers are notices issued by ICE and other DHS units that ask local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies not to release suspected removable aliens held at their facilities in order to give ICE an opportunity to take them into its custody. Detainers, often called immigration holds, are a primary tool that ICE uses to apprehend the suspects it is seeking. Irresponsible policies have led to a drop in the number of detainers issued by ICE, and given that ICE refuses to defend its detainer authority, many jurisdictions refuse to cooperate with ICE on detainers out of fear of civil liability. The results are distressing. ICE developed a methodology to track the number of detainers not honored by local law enforcement jurisdictions. From January 1, 2014 to September 30, 2014, over 10,000 detainers were not honored. Through September, the recidivism rate for these aliens was 25% in just a 9-month period. There were over 5,400 subsequent arrests and 9,300 criminal charges. The end result of these policies? The number of unlawful or criminal aliens that ICE has removed from the interior of the country has fallen by more than half since 2008. Given this administration's failure to enforce our immigration laws, we could line Border Patrol agents shoulder to shoulder at the southern border, and it would not matter. Why? Because once apprehended by the Border Patrol, many of the children, teenagers, and adults arriving at the border simply game our asylum and immigration laws that the Obama administration has severely weakened. The administration has done little to deal with this problem, other than ensure that these claims be heard years down the road. In the meantime, these aliens can abscond and eventually fail to appear for their hearings. The Wall Street Journal just reported that the Justice Department has a special date reserved for thousands of immigrants awaiting their day in court, the day after Thanksgiving in 2019. If word got out that bogus credible fear and asylum claims were not being rubber-stamped and that claimants were not rewarded with almost certain release into the U.S. along with work authorization, the vast increase in claims might quickly abate. In the end, it doesn't matter how many aliens are apprehended along the border if apprehension itself becomes a golden ticket into the country. Successful immigration reform must enable effective interior enforcement. This is an integral piece of the puzzle. We can't just be fixated on securing the border while undoubtedly an issue of paramount concern. We must focus on interior enforcement, or more precisely, what to do with unlawful immigrants who make it past the border and legal immigrants who violate the terms of their visas and thus become unlawfully present in the United States. One reason why our immigration system is broken today is because the present and past administrations have largely ignored the enforcement of our immigration laws. If we want to avoid the mistakes of the past, we cannot allow the President to continue shutting down federal immigration enforcement efforts unilaterally. In the coming weeks, this committee will hold hearings and address legislation that deals with the problem of the administration's failure to enforce our immigration laws. We will not only provide the administration with the tools it needs, we will also act to ensure that the President cannot unilaterally shut down immigration enforcement in this country. Only then will immigrants seeking to enter the U.S. have an incentive to obey our nation's immigration laws. We must ensure enforcement of our immigration laws so that we can then move on to address other broken aspects of our immigration system, such as high-skilled visa reform and addressing our broken agricultural guest worker program. It is now my pleasure to recognize the ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Conyers, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Chairman Goodlatte.